HIV and human rights was the theme of the lecture hosted in London by the Commonwealth Foundation and the International HIV/AIDS Alliance in time for World AIDS Day.
In Commonwealth countries, there's a particular challenge because we have, a quarter of the world's countries in the Commonwealth. We've got about a third of the world's human population, but we've got nearly two-thirds of the people suffering under the HIV and AIDS pandemic. So we have a disproportionate number of people living with HIV and AIDS in Commonwealth countries. And we recognise that to address HIV, we need to appreciate different cultural legacies, different needs, and work with these to achieve change at a pace and in a way that is locally appropriate across the Commonwealth, country by country.
HIV/AIDS is a significant problem in Commonwealth countries, and the majority have laws on their statute books which prohibit gay sex or prosecute those who transmit HIV. This can mean people who need access to care or prevention programs don't receive it. These legal issues were highlighted by the chair of the event, Cherie Booth QC.
Punitive laws and law enforcement practices have been proved to be counterproductive because they make it more difficult to treat people, to protect them. They obstruct efforts, therefore, to curb the impact of this epidemic on individuals and communities. What we need to do is support those living with HIV/AIDS and those in the most at-risk populations so that they can be helped without fear of persecution or even prosecution.
Keynote speaker, Justice Ajit Prakash Shah, showed that there is progress being made. The recently retired Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court ruled in 2009 to overturn a 150-year-old statute prohibiting homosexual acts, calling it a violation of fundamental rights.
Why should someone's dignity and ability be judged by his or her sexual preference? Why should someone's fundamental life choices be conditioned by other people's prejudice, ignorance, and stigmatization? Why should public health be compromised by an archaic and pedantic notion of public morality? The reaction to the judgment, of course, there was a euphoric response from the LGBT community and wider activist community. But even the response from the civil society was positive. The media response, not only the English media, but also the regional media, responded very positively about the judgment. Even amongst religious bodies, I feel that some of them are of the view that though the practice of homosexuality is against the religion, homosexuals should not be isolated.
Executive Director of the International HIV/AIDS Alliance, Alvaro Bermejo, hopes the Indian experience can act as an inspiration to other Commonwealth nations.
The epidemic is still causing devastation. We're still seeing 2.7 million new infections around the world every year. It will not be changed in a sustainable way unless we can address the structural issues that are driving new infections. And law reform is a very important path to making those changes. And we've unfortunately are in a situation where the health profession, medical advances are leading the way, but law reform needs to follow very closely to make those changes sustainable. It's urgent, it needs to start now.